this is one of an anti-MCK initiative or activity. It was a pro-jurisdiction initiative, So it wasn't against the MCK. It was for the workers who wanted to work on the bridge and not follow R20. That's what the Longhouse's position was. And don't misinterpret into something else.
Right.
That's what it is.
But I think whenever there's an issue that arises with the Mohawk Council, and then there's the larger issue where people aren't happy about it, and then the 207 steps in, it could create this perception that, well, here's the 207 coming in, and we're here to, solve this issue because they can't handle it. And I think that's the underlying feeling that that I've been getting from certain people within that political system.
All right. Well, it's unfortunate that they take that attitude, because we have been we've offered to meet the MCK. We met with them a year and a half ago to talk about jurisdiction, and the MCK said they would get back to the Longhouse on 207 a year and a half ago, and they have yet to come back to us. And the Longhouse gets the impression that the Mohawk Council is avoiding the Longhouse and does not want to meet with the Longhouse, and they just want to go along and as if the Longhouse doesn't exist. I think what happened over this thing, it just happens in cycles. If you look over our history, the Mohawk Council goes into these cycles of being all of a sudden pro-traditional, and then anti-traditional, pro-traditional, and they're in this anti-traditional mode right now. And then every now and again, if they continue, they get smacked in the face with that, because they ignore the Longhouse. But the Longhouse has a voice in this community, and we're not saying we're bigger than the MCK. We're just saying that the Longhouse, though, is where our inherent rights stem from, is in our traditions, and our right to self-determination comes from from time immemorial, our links to the land and the territory, the Guyana, Goa, the Confederacy. This is where our power comes from, and that's the people. When we supported the workers, they're the people, they're their families, they're their wives and their children. So many of their spouses work for MCK and other agencies in Ganawag. It's not an isolated group, It's an integral part of the community, and the Longhouse was supporting that integral part of the community.
But wouldn't you agree that the Mohawk Council only represents a certain majority of the community in terms of political or social issues?
Well, a certain majority. I don't know what the certain majority is. Well, you have to look at the percentage that vote. And I'm not saying also that all that don't vote support the Longhouse. I think that there's there's an underlying root in this community that we're Mohawks and we're not Canadians, and that elected systems is a representation of that imposition, that the imposition of the Indian Act, imposition of elected councils, etc. There's still that feeling under there, and that's why you have the low voter turnouts. At the same time, the council though gets all the power that 25% of the people give them, and to spend $45 million and do all these negotiations. I think the breakdown in this process is that it seemed to be, and the workers seemed to feel that the MCK left behind the workers, and the workers felt left out, and that was their mistake. It wasn't. If the men felt they're being left out, then the Mohawk Council should have done something to fix that, and they could. We tried to fix that. We offered to get the Longhouse, to get the MCK and the workers together in the same room, and let's have a civil discussion. We offered that, we didn't, and we wanted to mediate that, but the MCK turned that down, So that's on their backs to turn that down. It seems like the Mohawk Council did not want anything to do with the Longhouse. Even they didn't want the Longhouse to mediate. They didn't want the Longhouse to have any role to play at all, and I think they may have made a mistake.
Do you wonder why? Did anybody ask them why, or
I think that's
was there a disappointment that they didn't show up?
We were disappointed. I was disappointed because it was my initiative to put this together. It was my initiative to call Mike DeLillo to say let's get together. So I felt that I was trying to do a peaceful, constructive way of getting everybody together, and they turned that down, and that's too bad.
Has there been a response yet from Mike DeLillo at all?
None. He just said that he didn't have time, and he said that he wasn't feeling well on Monday, and now that the letter went out late on Monday, he felt it wasn't necessary to meet anymore. And as it turned out, it turned out well anyway, because the men were, and the Mohawk Ridge Consortium got what they wanted, and we're happy for them.